So, Naya token. So we've got some of the good green-white stuff in here with Emmara and stuff like that. Only having three Emmaras in here is interesting. It might be wrong. We got a couple of divine visitation here. I wouldn't be surprised if my conclusion before playing too many matches with this deck is this card is clunky and win more. The curve is tall in this deck, and if you look here, there's only 22 lands. The thing you have to remember when you're looking at this deck, though, is that Flourish is a land, effectively. One thing before we start that I might be changing is if we look at this mana, there's only 9 red sources in here, which is probably not enough. Yeah, that's just nowhere near enough red sources. I'm actually just going to cut these before we start and add some red sources in here. I'm going to start with 11, and we might even go higher than that. So normally I don't make edits to the decks before I play them on stream, like when people submit them and I accept them, but being able to cast our spells consistently is something I'm a big fan of, so let's make sure we can try and do that. Jesserel, thank you for the 213 sub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me on point here with that. Thanks everybody for dropping in today. Got over 1,000 people for most of the evening. Hope you're having a great Friday. Great start to your week. The Assure/Assemble seems bad. Why does it seem bad, Panza? Can you explain? Can you articulate? It seems like a pretty neat flexible card to me. Man, it would be absurd. Naya decks would probably be everywhere with Flourish should get you red mana. Yeah, I agree. I think it seems fantastic versus control. It's a card that can protect your really important threat that's already in play, or it can be a threat all on its own. Get a white source here so we can curve Emmara into Marshall. Marshall. Okay, step 1, dodged Curious Obsession. This matchup's probably really bad for this archetype if I had to venture a guess. We don't really interact profitably with their board, and it's just a pure race. I guess we've got a bunch of Conclave Tribunals here. What if I want to be grumpy and not articulate myself? Then you take a 10-minute timeout. Well, there's the Obsession. So one thing that's really important to know when you're playing against the mono blue deck is that Siren Storm Tamer can't protect enchantments. So when you're playing something like Conclave Tribunal, if this Conclave Tribunal resolves, I'm actually going to exile the Obsession rather than their creature, because if I try and target the creature, they'll be able to save it with this. However, if I target the Obsession, I'll take the Obsession off the table. Like your enchantment, please. Dive down this one. Storm Tamer this one. It's possible that on the back of these lifelink tokens, especially with heroic reinforcements as well here, that we could potentially catch back up in this race that way. Attacking first and convoking the token is bad against Merfolk Trickster, as exemplified here. Land, untapped land, untapped land. Ding. All right, so I get to do this. I get to do this. Oh, it doesn't matter, right? They have Siren Storm Tamer. Am I just dead? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we're just dead. This matchup seems pretty close to unwinnable. I just don't have any efficient removal. What does this card do? And like, obviously I don't mean the text box of it, because like I know what the card says in terms of its text box, but like what matchup could we possibly be bringing that in? I think that's gonna get sideboarded. I'm gonna bring in these Remorseful Clerics just as flying blockers. It hoses bridge from below. You're not wrong. Players can't cast spells from graveyards. That doesn't do anything versus Golgari. I guess it's okay versus the Phoenix deck. It stops Jumpstart. It stops them from jump-starting spells, but that doesn't seem particularly good. I think I probably just want a bunch of Seal Aways and Lava Coils. I probably don't have quite enough red sources to play Lava Coil consistently, but playing Seal Away seems fine. It stops abilities in cards or graveyards. If that's what the rules text said, it doesn't wipe the text off of it, right? All right, let's go read it again here and make some changes. Yeah, the lack of interaction in this deck. This is activated abilities, okay. The lack of interaction in this deck is interesting. Or activated abilities of cards and graveyards. Yeah, so I'm gonna cut that. Let's get a couple of Seal Aways in here. I think I'd much rather just have a bunch of cheap interaction rather than something expensive like Settle the Wreckage. Like if you look at the curve of what this deck is doing in the main deck, our main deck's pretty expensive. So having cheap interaction on the board makes a lot of sense. Again, why, Panza? Like, everybody can throw opinions around. The important thing is to articulate and explain why you would make the changes you're making. Help us understand why you think it's better, and then we can have a discussion about it. If you don't say why you would want to make a change, we can't really, you're not opening the doorway to like have a back and forth. Make a Stand is interesting. I don't know, I really like the flexibility on Assure. So like Make a Stand's really good if you line it up exactly into their sweeper, but the reason why the Assure card is good is because if you draw it post sweeper, you still have a way to put things into play. Yeah, Assure is flexible. I agree that comparing directly to sweepers, that obviously that card's much better. But the reason why this card is okay is because of its flexibility. I think Sentinel Totem's pretty slow and clunky. Welcome to Magic sometimes. Just how it goes. Feel like this deck probably has a little bit too much beef in it. I played that land. We don't have Tecatli on our guard in our deck either, so we're just gonna get beat up by just the mono. It was Golgari's, yeah, Immortal Sun's probably fine. This card's pretty mediocre. We have a hard time flipping it. The 1/1 doesn't have relevant text. Yeah, like, again, like, there's there's a parallel between if you like look at this deck and you like look at like the first black-red deck we played today, and we're just like stumbling and dying a bunch and fumbling around a whole lot. And if you look at these decks, the parallel between them is that they don't have a curve, right? Like they have a bunch of like really good, reasonable cards in them, but like they don't start doing things until turn 3. If you look at the decks that are really good in this format, they have like reasonable and proactive things to be doing, definitely by the second turn and often on the first turn of the game as well. Like the Golgari decks have all these explorer creatures, etc. And just like only having a few things to do in the first couple of, heck, even the mono green Stompy deck wasn't doing a whole lot. We've just been like 4 for 4 today on like submissions that just like don't do much until like the third turn of the game. And that's really just not a place you can really afford to be in this standard format. You need to be getting on the board and like interacting with the board consistent and early. And like Legion Warboss here, just like kind of like raising his flag up and being like, this is why I'm not worth splashing, right? Like we've splashed a third color for this card, and like I have the card on curve, and it's just like, well, is this even something I want to cast this turn? It's like, is this even good enough? It doesn't feel like it. So like, if this card isn't worth playing here, like, why am I splashing for it? Would be like the question that I would want to ask myself. Now this is a card worth splashing. Am I jamming it though? I probably shouldn't have shocked. Am I jamming this? I probably would like to wait a turn to do that. Yeah, I agree, Holy Shack. I feel like this card leaves a lot to be desired a lot of the time. Yeah, I agree, Marty. There's just, and for people that aren't sure what Marty means by that is, there's just, this format is so creature-based in the good decks. There's so many good blockers that it's really hard to make meaningful inroads with a card like Legion Warboss. There's just so many things that are ready to pop up and get in the way. Yeah, I agree. This is a very reasonable sideboard card for against decks like Blue Black and Jeskai that aren't very creature-based, but there's so many creature-based decks in this format right now that it feels a little medium. He's just, the fact that he doesn't give himself plus attack like Rabblemaster did is a big deal. Yeah, the zombie deck's a lot of fun, Yaku. I'm glad you've been enjoying it. They're flooding out a little bit here, so maybe Lyra will have a chance. The idea of this deck was to gum up the board until Divine Visit. So we put a bunch of bad cards in our deck to enable another card that's kind of mediocre? Is that what it is? Is this lethal? This is probably lethal, right? They block 2, I heroic 1. Yeah, that's lethal. I mean, this hand has a curve. I don't know that it's a particularly good curve for the matchup that we're playing, but the curve exists. Wow, no 3-mana play is absurd for us. Okay, now we're cooking with gas. History of Benalia into heroic reinforcements is like really good. So I'm gonna sacrifice this, even though they don't have a graveyard, because it denies my opponent the 2 points of health, because their spell will be countered upon resolution because it no longer has a target. So honestly, is it silly just to try and splash this card into green-white tokens? I feel like that's the direction I want to go. I feel like we might push some things around. Like, if we cut this, we can drag the curve down a little bit too. Get some more 2-mana creatures in here. Hey, Mello, MVP, thank you for the brand new Prime support. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me employed here. So I have 2 heroic reinforcements, so I think I just like jam here. So again, for people that aren't familiar with my stream, when people submit decks and I do changes to them, I try to work within the confines of the submission that they've made. So in this instance, this person submitted Naya tokens. So I think I want to try and make changes to iterate on the deck a little bit, but I would like the final iteration to still be a Naya tokens deck. And Legion War Boss has been incredibly underwhelming so far. So I think working towards just having a smaller splash for heroic reinforcements makes sense. Would Aurelia be worth it? Potentially. Yeah, potentially Aurelia could be okay. I don't know, like, again, like, one of the issues, like, talking about this deck is if you look at the curve, too many 3, 4, 5 mana cards is one of the issues this deck feels like it has. So, putting another 4 mana spell in it doesn't seem particularly great. Def Lobster, please look at the deck list. We are maxed out on copies of Clifftop Retreat. So if I attack here, if I attack with everything, am I dead on the backswing? If I reinforcement smash, am I dead on the backswing? I should have tapped the Rootbound Crag to cast that flower, so I could have cast Marshall here potentially. So if I attack with everything, it's going to be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And if I attack for 16, that means they have to block 2 things, but this has Vigilance, so they could trade with this. I think I'm just supposed to reinforcements and smash here. So let's consider what they could do. So if I do this, they'll trade here and then jump here, and then they'll take 8, 9, 10 and live. So I can't attack with everything here. So if I hold this back, they could trade here and then pump this here, and then this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So they have to block at least one thing here. They could trade here so I don't have the blocker. And then on the backswing, this blocks here, so this attack is fine. Yeah, I'm aware Carnage Siren has trample, chat. But I'm at 9. I'm aware Carnage Siren has trample. Oh, they have removal guaranteed next turn. Yeah, we're probably dead. They could overblock here and have it be fine for us, but yeah, I think with the known removal spell on top, this attack is bad. I don't know. I don't think any of our lines lead to good places. These blocks are very good for us. think those blocks give us a chance to have outs here. Yeah, they overblocked for sure. They could be trying to play around like another heroic reinforcements, but I think they're dead to that regardless. This game feels like a good example of like why it's potentially worth splashing heroic reinforcements. Like that card's just incredibly powerful. Just like play good cards.
My mission. Crew, attack at will.
All right. I messed up. They messed up back. We won the game. So I punted to onboard. I punted, giving them lethal with the top of their deck. They missed the fact that I punted that, and then we killed them. Yeah, they could have won. I also could have made better attacks to not leave them the option to win. Yeah, so this card just feels pretty bad. I'm gonna get rid of that one. I think this card's probably just too cute in general. I think it's just too expensive. Again, just like looking at this deck and all the other decks we've played today, I feel like I just want to take these curves and pull them down. So like what? So here's the smartest thing you can do when building decks in Magic. Use the data from the people that have come before you. Don't reinvent a wheel that's already rolling. So what I've done here is I've pulled up a green-white tokens deck list. So it's okay to take an existing deck and try and innovate and change on it a little bit. But I would like to take a look here and see what this deck is doing, what kind of cards it's playing, so I can base some of my ideas on that. So like what other 2-drops are they playing in this deck? They're playing Saproling Migration, and they're playing Thorn Lieutenant. So like basically we're kind of building a similar deck with Tristani Discord. This card makes mana of any color, right? Okay, so what I'm actually gonna do here is I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna go ahead and just start making edits to this rather than working from this. I'm gonna import the green-white list that's already been successful. Yeah, Song is good for the splash. Then I'm gonna add, I spell heroic right? I did not. Hero, there we go. So let's start with 4 of those and try from there and then adjust the mana base and go. I do agree that Song of Freyalise seems like a sweet card for tokens in general, and it's a card that's gonna be good against, or good for our splash. Then we can add our free white sources in here, so Clifftop and Sacred Foundry. Our free-ish. So I need to cut 4 cards from here. I think the idea with heroic reinforcements is that I'm going a little bit lower on the curve. So maybe I want to trim some of this top end here. This seems pretty reasonable. Let's give this a try. So again, like, it's okay to want to innovate and tweak things, but especially in a format like standard, heck, even in modern, even when you're playing, stop it, I want to cancel, stop it, I want to cancel, I picked the wrong deck, stop it, I want to cancel, I picked the wrong deck. Damn it. All right, I'm gonna concede the match. Even in a format like modern, where you have a deep card pool, most of the ideas that you're going to be working on in modern are ideas that somebody else somewhere has worked on before. So you should always do some research and some legwork to figure out what other people have done in similar veins to build on their ideas rather than starting from this blank slate. I mean, that whole thing was a laggy mess, right? Oh, I could put a couple of check lands in. Yeah, that's true. Let me do that real quick, actually. There's 4 forests. I don't need 4 forests in here. If I put in 1 rootbound, 2 rootbounds puts me to 15 red. That's probably more than enough. I'm going to put just 1 in and leave this other forest here for now. Like that. My counting there included the Song of Freyalise. Yeah, me too. Being able to make edits to decks between matches is fantastic, especially like with the whole donation deck system where we can work on ideas. Like, it's quite fantastic for stream content. Why does this deck not want Beneficial March? So it wants that card, but if you look at our mana base, the mana base that you have to have in order to cast that card consistently is very different than the mana base that I have here. Red-black. Okay, red-black burn maybe? I think I'm actually just going to go ahead and Conclave Tribunal this, because if it's red-black burn, this card's going to be real annoying. Yeah, it looks like red-black burn. Yeah, potentially. You probably want at least 21 white sources in the mana base before you consider the Marshal. I guess Flourish. Oh, I should have attacked one more there. I forgot I had Legion Landing to flip. I was thinking I wanted to leave a 1/1 back to trade with this, but flipping Legion's Landing would have been very good there. The reason why I didn't attack with that is because I wasn't thinking about Tadonto. All right, that worked out for us, actually. $23, sure. So if you count Flourish as a white source, maybe you should probably count as like half a white source. You probably want like 20 to 21 white sources in your actual mana base. So. All right, red stuff. Give me Lyras, give me Night of Autumns. Honestly, is this a Nullhide Ferox matchup just to like give them the business? Oh, you know what? If I'm playing heroic reinforcements, Nullhide Ferox probably becomes not worth playing. Although I guess like the matches where they're gonna come in, it's probably not a big deal. What do you think of this? This is probably fine. I think I like this. That's pretty clean. They don't have that many things that they attack with, so Seal Away's not particularly good. Let's try this. Can you hear my 4-year-old in the background? He might be on a different floor, but he's very loud. I'm excited. When Christy and I, when we move into the new place next year, we're gonna have some soundproofing in my office. It's gonna be great. Watch for Fiery Cannonade. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. It's definitely a card they're gonna have access to. It's pretty good. Needs another white source. Like, we draw an untapped white source on one. This hand's like the Stone Cold Letter Butters. But even without it, it's still pretty reasonable. And actually, Nullhide might be good here because of their sweeper. Could be reasonable. Just like having a 6/6. That's a good pickup.
Chad hasn't seen me in a long time. They miss me.
They miss you.
Could they hear him?
Yeah, they can hear him. Of course they can hear him. Everybody heard. The neighbors heard him. For each one, exile. Okay, so for each of those cards, put it into your hand, then exile the rest. So if I pay 3 for this, they don't get to keep it. So take action. Pay 3 life for mountain. Decline. Pay 3. Pay 3. Just get rid of those.
Those 11 cupcakes.
I basically just want to keep them off of other draw 3s, right? Is basically what it comes down to.
Those 11 cupcakes are for you.
Those 11 cupcakes are for you? Let's be honest, all the cupcakes are for you.
You calling me fat? Yeah, he called me fat.
The fact that History of Benalia works with Night of Autumn 2 here is quite fantastic. And like, again, this is just like a good example of like, Heroic Reinforcement would be sweet here, right? Just like another way to like slam in. Would love to gain 4, thank you.
How annoying would cards be if they were actually shaped like that? The rounded bottom.
Well, these are tokens. So tokens probably be fine looking like that. The fact that they keep using spot removal aggressively on all my creatures tells me that they likely don't have something like Fiery Candidate, which is good for us. Get to go and attack here. Even though this is a free block for them, this has lifelink, so might as well gain 1. I'm gonna play my 2/2/3s out here. I guess this is like really bad against Ritual of Soot. Yeah, I'm gonna hold the other Thorn Lieutenant in the face of Ritual of Soot. This is a little bit worse against Fiery Cannonade. I don't know, we kind of get caught regardless. It might be right to just hold both of my things, honestly. It kind of reads like they don't have a sweeper, though, based on how they've been picking off my things. They just... Vraska's contempted by lifelink tokens, sure.
That card has so much text.
It does a lot. All right, so I'm actually going to leave back one of my 1/1s here. And the reason for this is this 1/1 makes mana, which means I can use it to activate a Danto this turn, which is nice. So rather than get in 1 extra point here, I'd rather make a 1/1 with lifelink. Yeah, that's true, too. If they have Soot, they wouldn't play out the field. Chupacabra. If I cast Tristani, I can't attack. And now, like, this turn, I get to cast Tristani without tapping anything. Chat, I get to do both now. And, like, I'm at 18, so, like, the lifelink from these mattering doesn't really very quickly. Like, this is fine, right? So, Sweeper or Bust here for them. Even if they find a way to remove this, the song goes off next turn. Allow me to sing you the song of my people. My people are very vigilant. That felt more trim than the build we started with, right? Like, this is... We starting with the deck that won the tournament and splashing a color into it. Felt a little more trim. I couldn't do that If I left enough guys up to cast the Tristani, I wouldn't flip the Adanto. Because Tristani costs 5. Sounds good. Remember, this hand looks a little bit land light, but these are like tapped lands. Put up Mulligan to 5. Probably go Legion's Landing into Thorn Lieutenant here. Yeah, some kind of Abzan Aristocrat shell could be sweet with Poison Tip Archer. Sweet. This curve is just fantastic. Just like the Legion's Landing Saproling Migration curve. Just like flip it right away. Get to ramp right on up. Their opponent apparently thinks that's a pretty good curve too. Green-black. Probably want to cut all these Conclave Tribunals. Probably want these Immortal Suns. Does that Settle the Wreckage matchup? How do we feel about Settle the Wreckage? Oh, there's another Forest in our sideboard, right? Yeah, for whatever reason, if you have basic lands, it's a bug. If you have basic lands in your sideboard, they don't show up in your sideboard. You have to click the little plus arrow there. Yeah, I think I just want to do this. Oh, you have to click the land filter. Okay. That makes sense. Sure. Song plus Emmara is a good, strong combination too. Wild Growth Walker is a card we don't quite care about as much in this deck. Like, obviously, while we want to pressure through them eventually, Wild Growth Walker alone isn't going to prevent us from doing that because our deck can go really big over the top. So even if they gain, you know, 6, 12, 20 life, we can eventually push through with a really big board. And we have a lot of tokens that'll be able to block Wild Growth Walker if it gets too large. We're definitely just taking this first hit. So my next turn is probably going to be Forest, Song plus Thorn Lieutenant off the Emmara plus my Forest. Fantastic. And then next turn, I can cast Heroic Reinforcements. And then the following turn, the Song will pop off for them. I really hope they get aggressive with this Branch Walker here. Yeah, I agree. Song's really neat. So, do I want to Shalai this turn, or do I want to Reinforcements this turn? So the upside to casting Reinforcements this turn is that it allows me to get the Song of Freyalise trigger, making my creatures indestructible on the heroic tokens next turn, which is kind of neat. The flip side is if I Heroic Reinforcements after I Shalai, I'll be able to get a bigger swing. No, I can't do both, chat. This doesn't give my creatures, these are the only creatures that have mana, chat. So like if I put more creatures into play here, they're not going to tap for mana. I think I want to do Shalai first. I think I want to do Shalai first here. She's got a big booty. And like, I'm not really winning this game by aggroing, right? Like, they have all these wild growth walkers, so I might as well just like build a little bit of a bigger board here. Heroic Reinforcements is a sorcery, so I can't cast it in response to the Freyalise trigger.
Jeffrey.
Yep.
Matt's here.
Okay.
I'm going to get.
Everything I love is dead, chat. Everything I love is dead. Do 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 do. Heroic Reinforcements does give them haste. However, the song only gives the creatures currently in play the ability to tap for mana. So any creatures that come into play after the song don't have the ability to tap to make mana. Did Chrissy tell you have to babysit?
Yes.
Thank you, Matthew.
Yeah. I don't care what you do. What are you doing?
We're playing Naya tokens.
This looks awful. How do you beat Wild Growth Walker?
Actually, it was the finality that messed us up.
Oh, good.
We were gonna beat the Wild Growth Walker. The finality killed us.
Oh, good.
You know, this deck won the green white tokens, won the classic in Vegas.
Yeah.
Just everything in this format wins all the time. I'll let you. Do you want to see Matt's ugly face for a second?
Just 1 minute. You have me for 1 second.
You have 1 second.
Spam all the emotes while you can.
Matthew's got to go upstairs and watch Jake here in a hot second. And by watch him, I mean just, you know,
Sit there.
sit there. Yep.
Damn emotes.
So no reason to attack into this here. They have a Squire back in their hands, so they're just gonna like casually gain 6 here. Don't laugh at my pain.
It's more than that. You have 2 Wild Growth Walkers.
Yeah, 6, sir. I'm only mostly dead. I'm only dead on the inside, Matthew.
Is that you on the emote?
Yeah, you
That's
know
chat. That chat's doing.
Yeah, you never knew that?
That's dope.
Oh, sick.
All right, that bodes well for us. That back up, Emmara.
Nice deck.
All right, well I'm gonna turn
Goodbye.
Emmara into another a 1/1 lifelinker here. So I'm gonna attack with her. She'll get gobbled up. I'll play another one. That's Bamonte. He and I are going up to Chicago this weekend. What? Oh, they're playing around. They're playing around a Trixie. Look at that. We mind gamed them into playing around a trick. That's just good clean. I just wanted a 1/1 opponent. I appreciate you though. I'll take the freebie. They might hold back this turn since this is popping off. Nope. Nope. Just swing for the fences, eh? All right. Okay. Okay, so we're cooking with gas here. Face. For knights. Am I gonna board in Settle for game 3? I don't think so. Like, we didn't lose this game to Wild Growth Walker. If we lose, we didn't lose to Wild Growth Walker. We lost to Finality. This is for everybody that didn't believe. This is for everybody that wanted to block that Wild Growth Walker. Don't play to not lose, play to win. I think throwing away our creature on the Wild Growth Walker is playing to not lose, playing to lose slowly. Figure it out. Figure it out. This is what I got. Do the stuff. It's not my job to figure out if they're dead. It's their job. Alright, so we got Vraska's Contempt coming. Does Contempt keep them alive? Yeah, if they Contempt, they could jump here, Contempt to 4-3, go to 1. And then we kick this and add 4 lethal threats to the table. So Vraska's Contempt keeps them at 1 here. If they have nothing, they're dead. If they block like this, a single removal spell keeps them alive. Looks like they have a non-contempt removal spell. I have them dead. I have them dead through Finality, so I should just pass here, right? Yeah, I'm gonna pass. There's no reason to play into a Finality. Oh, yeah, Jade Light Ranger's a good reason. All right, so we're dead. So we've died. God, what a roller coaster of emotions. That they were due, right? Like they were due for that one. So if I would have kicked it, they'd have died, right? Yeah, if I would have kicked it, they would have died. They'd be dead. Yep. Am I dead? This will be 5 and 2. So I'm not dead on board. They're gonna put counters here. Yeah. Okay. That's something to think about too, right? Like they hadn't played a Jade Light Ranger yet, and they had played a Finality, and they like almost certainly have 4. Well, this is really good for me. They think they should have saved their Jade Light Ranger there rather than making one big vulture. Somebody call the police. There's been a robbery. Somebody call the police. There's been a robbery. Got him. Call the cops. And out of nowhere, look at that. Look at that, our splash doing some work there. That felt good. That felt really good. All right. I think we did make the wrong percentage play playing around Finality rather than Jade Light, but we got a good moment out of it there, so you know. Heroic Reinforcements gives you play against sweepers. Worth noting. Yeah, like it gives us some reach, right? In a way. Just like some get up and go. It's like not amazing, but fine. It's really like a 2-drop where on the draw we get 2 shots to draw a 2-drop. This is actually a buddy of mine. He plays board games at my house with me on occasion. I'm like 99% sure. He mulliganed to 4 and we drew our perfect draw. I think the opponent should have cast Find and gotten Walker plus another Explorer creature. Maybe. Alright, so what's my next turn gonna be? My next turn's gonna be History of Benalia into Conclave Tribunal, the Wild Growth Walker. Just like popping off here. Yeah, like they mulliganed to 4 and we had the Stone Cold Nuts. They were on the play, but like our draw was very good. So, oop, not that one. I want the Immortal Suns and the extra land in my deck. That's in my sideboard, so I'm boarding in 2 6-drops. Seems fine. Strong, opinionated people have friends, kids, and enemies. That probably describes most people, to be fair. This hand's pretty good, too. Just like any 2-drop into history hand is just really good. Do you have any videos playing Pokemon TCG? Yeah, if you look at my YouTube channel, I played a bunch of Pokemon. Oh, jeez. Yep, all right, well. If we hit the 4th land on time. Yeah, I played a bunch of Pokemon TCG at the beginning of 2017, and then I played my first paper Pokemon TCG tournament, had an opponent lie to one of their judges to get me a match loss, and then I stopped playing. Huh. So do I history or do I Legion's Landing? That's still a command? Yeah, that's still a command. Look at that. Does this link still work on my website? It does. Look at that. Read all about Pokemon TCG, my experience there. I'm gonna Benalia first here. I have a command for everything that I have to answer frequently. Rather than sitting here repeating myself, I'd rather just like have a command for it. This is gonna be like 3rd Walker Explore creature. Oh no! Oh no! They're going on a safari, chat. This safari doesn't bode well for us. Alright, untapped land would be great here. Alright, so I get to do this. And then I get to do this turn, which lets me attack in. Which I think is reasonable. Yeah, we're definitely not in a good way at the moment. They skipped their free block on my 3/3, but like, they're just gaining so much health that it just doesn't matter. Mercy! I have a family! Oh, family! Well, that could have gone better. I liked it better when they mulliganed to 4. I liked it better when they mulliganed. For Arena has crashed. Arena was so disgusted by that golden demise that it crashed. So let's reload here and get back in for game 3. Put settle in for game 3. Nah, yeah, I think we telegraphed too much. What's going on, dude? You want to say hi to the internet? Dad's almost done for the day. Can you say hi, internet?
Hi, Mama.
Hi, internet.
Hi, Mama. Ooh, where poo? Where? Where poo? Where hi? Bah, yeah.
Ba-da.
Yay!
Yay!
I did it.
Here, Jake, the internet's up here. Can you talk to them?
Hi, Mama.
What do you want to tell the internet? He took all my hair, chat. I don't have any hair left. Jake took all of it. Yay, look, they're listening. They said they knew we like when they mulliganed to 4. Quack, quack. Jacob Jeffrey. They only mulliganed to 5 this time. Probably can't win. Have him shriek so the new viewers get that OG experience.
Oh, a pie.
Uncle Matty came to reclaim the escaped prisoner. Back in my day, we had to listen to 2 children scream uphill in the snow, right? So I already have four lands, and like flipping this is a 5th land. So I think I'm just gonna hold on to the Flower Flourish for now to like cast the Flourish half down the line. There's a deck list on your screen via the Stream Decker widget. You can also type !deck in chat to get a direct link to the deck list. This 3/4 just like cramping my style. I'm gonna go ahead and play Shalai, I think, here. And then next turn, we'll Heroic Reinforcements and attack with enough to flip this. That way we can Flourish the following turn. Man, part of me wonders, like, looking at the removal that Green-White has access to it, part of me really wonders if maybe splashing enough red to have access to Lava Coil is worthwhile. That removal spell is just so good in this format. I just smash with everything, right? Like, they could eat this, but then they take this hit over here, and, like, I make a 1/1 to make up for it. And it, like, flips this Legion landing over. I'm even in Activate Shalai region here after we Flourish. It might even be right to hit her once before we Flourish. Like, if they hit an Explore creature, it might just be like Turtle up on Shalai for a hot second. But they were worried about some kind of trick there. I guess we could have been playing like something like Assure. Heroic Reinforcements is a very powerful card. It's definitely a card that's like in the range of power level to be worth splashing, I think. Oh, that's really true, Tom. It also gets Emmara out of the range. well. Definitely activating Shalai next turn. All right, I mean, we're here to smash, right? Because, like, we're getting Finality next turn anyways. So they're certainly going to trade off this because it's going to die anyways. They're probably going to put counters on the Wild Growth Walker to keep that around. They have a land in hand? They need to have a land in hand for this block and to be... They must have a land, right? It's the only reason to block with the elf there. They have Memorial to follow here as black mana. I wonder if they missed the Finality line and were really focused on Find, or they have the land. One of the two, right? There's a chance. Yeah, there's a chance that they... I think my opponent might have pigeonholed on the Find half of it. Yeah, I think they were focused too much on the Find half and forgot that it could be a sweeper effect. I've definitely done that before. Just like this card has one mode and it's easy to tunnel vision onto it. I think they were also a little bit too conservative about not killing my Emmara. I'm just gonna activate this and hit with just Shalai here. Yeah, or they missed that they were gonna need a land with the block. Yeah, So the first build of this that was originally submitted was really kind of clunky again, just like looking at this curve, like just to compare these decks again. Look at the curve of this deck. So this is the one that was submitted. And then look at the curve of, this was a green-white tokens deck that won an SCG Classic, and then look at the curve of this in comparison that we then added Heroic Reinforcements to. Heroic Reinforcements is really impressive. It's one of the cards that makes the White Weenie aggro deck be really powerful, and it felt like it was an okay card to be splashing into here. Honestly, once we get Stomping Ground in the next set, this might be something that's just really good. I think especially once you get Stomping Ground, or maybe even before, like if we add like another Rootbound Crag in here as another red source, I might like to see Lava Coils in the 75, maybe even in the main deck, just because Lava Coil is just like one of the best removal spells in this format right now. That's going to be it for me for today, folks. I'm ending a little bit earlier than I normally do on Friday. It's been going for about 5 hours. I'm heading up to Chicago this weekend to play in the Nerd Rage Modern thing that they have tomorrow. So if you're going to be there, feel free to say hello. If you want to watch that tournament, they cast that tournament every single week, or every single month when they do it. So you can check out their Twitch channel here at twitch.tv/NRG series. I keep finding I get run over by heavy creature decks. I'm curious if you'd... So yeah, if you're having a hard time keeping up with Aggro Ribbon, you're going to want to add Ritual of Soot as opposed to Phyrexian Scriptures. Like Phyrexian Scriptures is better against mid-range decks, whereas Ritual of Soot is better against the more aggressive decks. All right, yeah, I'm going to find someone to host here. I think Evars is streaming. So I'm going to go ahead and send a host his way, and I'll catch y'all around later. Everybody have a good one.